everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you all the books I plan on reading in the month of April. So April's going to be a bit of a crazy month. I'm going to be graduating from my master's on the 21st, which is crazy. I think I'll do like a whole video about that, and which I'm really looking forward to. So I'm moving back home. I have a residency position, and so I get to live back home, which I'm really excited about. So I don't start until June, so I do have a bit of time in May, just kind of relax, rewind, and just kind of get adjusted to living back home again. And so I'm like, of course I do have a big exam coming up. We have 3 big ones. We have like a comprehensive of everything we've learned over the 2 years, and then like for orthotics and prosthetics we have one that's like a physical, so you have to do like casting and modifications, so like all this stuff. So it's gonna be a stressful week kind of on the 3rd week of April. So it's going to be a little bit crazy and hectic, but I'm really excited that kind of I'll be done with school forever. So I have 4 books here that hopefully I'll be able to get to. I know kind of mid-April I may not be able to get to these, but I do have a little bit time after when I come back home after I graduate to do some more reading. So I'm finally getting down on my TBR pile that I have here. So hopefully by kind of May all these books will be done and I can start reading the new ones. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So the first book that I will be reading this month is Friction by Sandra Brown, and this is the Tales and Teacups book club pick for March and April. So obviously I need to read this one this month, but it's about a man who his kind of life turned upside down when his wife died, and he ended up losing custody of his daughter. So after a couple years afterwards, he's kind of turned his life around and he's in court trying to get his rights back for his daughter. And so while this is happening, a gunman barges into the courtroom and starts shooting everywhere. And so I think that's really interesting. And so it says, when a masked gunman barges into the courtroom during the guardianship hearing, Crawford reacts instinctively, saving the judge from a bullet, but his heroism soon takes on the taint of recklessness. The cloud over him grows even darker after he uncovers a horrifying truth about the court gunman and realizes that the unknown person behind the shooting remains at large and a threat. So I think this one will be really interesting. I've read 2 of her books before, and they're like, each chapter always ends on a cliffhanger, so I know this one's going to be a quick read. And I'm really into like thrillers right now. I have like this need to read a thriller, so I think this one will be a really fun read to be reading in the beginning of April. So I just realized here that all the books that I have on here are actually all thrillers, but this one here is My Sister's Grave by Robert Dugoni. And so essentially this is about a girl whose sister was murdered like maybe 20 years ago, and she never truly believed the conviction and like how everything kind of panned out in terms of the trial. So she, like, flash forward to present day, she is now a detective, and so she's kind of going back and kind of uncovering the truth behind her sister's murder. So I think this one sounds so interesting, and I don't know, and just trying to figure out like what actually happened, who was the real killer. And I think this one will be so interesting. I'm trying to go into this not knowing too much, so that's why I'm trying to be a little bit vague, but I do tend to read thrillers a little bit more quickly, so I think this one I'll also read through very quickly as well. So I'm really excited to pick this one up. It's been on my shelf for a few years, and I'm happy to be finally picking it up this month. So these next 2 books are written by Tess, who is one of my all-time favorite crime novelists. She wrote the Recieve and I series, which is like one of my favorite series of all time. So these, I have 3 other her books that I haven't read yet, so I want to get to 2 this month because they have been on sitting on my shelf. I have the receipt in here, so let's see. It says, yeah, March 24th, 2016. So it's been 2 years that these have been sitting on my shelf. But yeah, the first one is Gravity. So essentially it says, Dr. Emma Watson has been training for her adventure of a lifetime to study living beings in space. But her mission aboard the International Space Station turns into a nightmare beyond imagination when a culture of single-cell organisms begins to regenerate out of control and infects the space station crew with agonizing and deadly results. Emma struggles to contain the virus outbreak while back on Earth, her estranged husband, Jack, works frantically with NASA to bring her home, but there will be no rescue. The contagion now threatens Earth's population, and the astronauts are stranded in orbit quarantined aboard the station where they are dying one by one. So I think this one will be really interesting. She is a really good medical thriller author. She was a physician, so a lot of the kind of medical aspects in here are very accurate from what I know being in the medical profession. So I think this one, like, I find like viruses and like all this stuff to be like really freaks me out, and just kind of like mass infection. So I think this one will really like creep me out. So I think this one is a little different than what I normally read, but I think it will be a really interesting one. So, and just being out in space. So yeah, I'm really excited to pick this one up. And lastly, I have Life Support, also by Tess Gerritsen. So this one says, the quiet overnight shift at Springer Hospital ER suits Dr. Toby Harper just fine, until she admits a man in critical condition for a possible viral infection of the brain. The delirious man barely responds to treatment and then disappears without a trace. Before Toby can find him, a second case occurs, revealing a terrifying fact. The virus can only be spread through direct tissue exchange. Following the trail of death that winds from a pregnant 16-year-old prostitute to her way home, Toby discovers the unthinkable. The epidemic didn't just happen, someone let it loose. So again, this is like another good medical thriller, and like I said, any of those like epidemic ones totally freak me out. So I think this one will be very interesting. Like again, I always love these books, and I know this will be one that will keep me on the edge of my seat. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what books you want to read this month, and if you've read any of these, what are your thoughts and opinions on them. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.